Blessed ones of the nations of the world. One more time, thus is your brother Dan Moses or say your Sakwadi of TRC Ghana coming to you with the continuation of our exposés, testimony, new world, disorder. But before we begin, we want to welcome each other by saying Akwaba, Akwaba, Allen, Sahalen, Shagitam, welcome, Ingantoni, Benvindo, you are welcome, Kuso, Diwo, to San Senor, Okukulaba, Mauya, Mingalaba, Boye, Malamo, Karibu, Ekabo, no, O, San de Zua, Mkwam de Hena, Mitash, Duburo, Pezalovat, Bine Ivinit, Barigalust, Bita Iche, Ayubon, Dobridoya, Velkommen, Estan, Hozut, Walang Aroma, Bienvenue, Bienvenido, Namaste, Swagetam, Kush, Hamadid, Baruch, Haba, Marhaba, Huangyong Haminida, Huangying, Nyejeko, Anemi Nyejeko, We Zolo, Novio, Miawezo, Akwaba to the program Testimony New World Disorder. Testimony New World Disorder, as we know, is the program through which we get to know the truth as to what is happening to Ghana, America, humanity, and the nations of the world in these times of global deception, delusion, and willful lies that are made up by some of the very people that we trust to be there for humanity and the nations of the world, and yet have for almost 2 decades, 17 years in worship of this extremely dangerous US undercover agent. They have continued to deal with humanity by willful lies, deception, and delusion. And eventually, they have brought humanity and the nations of the world into this total global helplessness. But we always want to remind ourselves that the agenda, the ulterior agenda being pursued, for which the world is in the current state, is the agenda, an agenda to seek to take over your soul, the souls of all of the human race. That is what the wicked and the evil are doing against the human race, and they are using all kinds of ugly diversionary tactics. COVID-19, global medical terrorism against humanity, Russia-Ukraine situation, to divert our attention from the reality of the situation which you are facing in your nation and on the nations of the world. Blessed ones, we would also want to know and understand always that Ghana and America are the centers of the global evil pursuit. Ghana, my nation, has been taken by the government of Nana Addo Akufo Addo and the global wicked forces, Joe Biden and his cronies, as a global state to experiment with the souls of the innocent people of Ghana, seeking to lead them to damnation, take over their souls. But Ghana and the nations of the world, we are not moved, because God has never lost control of creation and the human race, and is still in total control. So we thank God that by His grace we are sure get to receive some divine direction, divine insight, and divine guide, that we may know exactly what to do in these times of global man-made Jacob's trouble, global wickedness, which has been invented by fellow humans to be imposed, to terrorize the entire human race. What they are pursuing is what the Bible calls the Great Tribulation. That is what they are working towards. The mark of the beast era. That is what they are doing. And they are playing humanity and the nations of the world with all their treachery. Those that we trust to be there for the human race, they are the people that have done that. The Barack Obama's, Ban Ki-moon, Hillary Clinton, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, Fauci, Akufo and they have done this evil. Blessed ones of the nations of the Aquaba to the program Testimony New World. So this is expose part 250. 250. 251 is going to be what to do. Blessed ones. This expose is being recorded on the 11th of July 2023, Tuesday, for the 12th of July 2023, Wednesday. So as soon as we get done with the recording, we shall start posting them. We shall see the exposés on the nations of the world by the 12th of July 2023. So Aquaba to the program Testimony New World Disorder. Humanity and the nations of the world. Elect of God. Breaking news. Breaking news. Joe Biden and his administration. The state of Maryland. They are so desperate in diverting the attention of the American people, humanity and the nations of the world, our attention from the consequences of the 17 years of cowardly secret terrorism against the Ghanaian people, the heinous crimes committed against Ghana and humanity. They are so desperate to divert our attention from the consequence of that, which is now clear, which has fallen on America and is now clear before the eyes of the American people and humanity. They are so desperate in finding a reason to blame the consequence of their 17 years of evil pursuit, hate crimes against the African people and the cowardly secret of the Ghanaian people. They are finding a reason to blame the consequence of that which has fallen on America, and it is clear to the eyes of the whole world. They are so desperate and just don't know what to do. Ghana, America, and the nations of the world, at the close of the month of June, God made us move away from the White House and give Joe Biden and his administration the state of Maryland, which state of Maryland for 14 years in worship of this extremely dangerous US undercover agent has used state machinery, private and all state machinery, to perpetrate hate crimes of the killing of Ghanaians. God told us, move out of the White House, give them the opportunity to do as they please. Now with the corporate terror company, Avenue Exxon, they have advanced the cause of their shameless crime covering and the hatred agenda for the African people that they are using the company to pursue the operating of this resident as the secret terror cell. They are so desperate that to them, how can they find a reason to blame the consequences of their evil pursuit, which is befalling America? What reason can they find to blame it on? Can they say it is Joe Biden? Can they say it is Donald Trump? Can they say it is Putin? Can they say it is Zelensky? Or should they say it is His Excellency Netanyahu? Should they say it is Xi Jinping? Should they say it is Kim Jong-un? They are so desperate and don't know what to do. America and the nations of the world, Ghana, in the desperation of the state of Maryland, their evil pursuit, hate crime pursuit, and the covering up of the killing of the people, precious people of Ghana, Biden and his administration, if we listen carefully, we would hear from the media the nonsense talk of the Biden administration, claiming that They are going to provide Israeli style security guarantee for Ukraine. They are going to provide Israeli style security guarantee for Ukraine. America and the nations of the world. Akwaba to the program Testimony New World Disorder. The whole people of Ukraine, the whole people of Russia. I tell the state of Maryland and Joe Biden and his administration that they know so well that about 70% of what they use the media in America, they use the media in America to do to the American people in regarding the Russia-Ukraine situation. What they use the media in America, the propaganda, dirty politics and propaganda that they use the media in America to do, stepping on the back of Russia-Ukraine to do to humanity, about 70% of it, they are all fake news. They are fake news and government orchestrated nonsense. Today is this expose is coming to us on the 12th of July 2023. So what we want to tell Joe Biden and the state of Maryland in regarding the so-called Israeli style security guarantee which they claim they were going to provide for Ukraine. We want to tell them that the Ukrainians and the government of Ukraine, Zelensky, His Excellency Vladimir Putin and Russia, they know so well, the US government knows so well that security guarantee that they are talking about, Israeli style security guarantee that they are talking about, is total nonsense, which has nothing to do with the nation Ukraine. Did you hear that? Breaking news. I'm saying that the total garbage which Joe Biden and his administration are claiming of Israeli style security guarantee which they are going to provide for Ukraine, it has nothing to do with the nation Ukraine or what is going on in Russia and Ukraine. It is all about what is happening in the state of Maryland, the terrorism that the state of Maryland is being used to perpetrate in worship of this extremely dangerous US undercover agent, and the covering up of the 17 years of terrorism that the state of Maryland and the wicked forces in America have been used to perpetrate against humanity. It is all about this undercover agent. America and the nations of the world, Akwaba. Therefore, together with Israel, Ukraine, Russia, and all the nations of the world, America, we tell Joe Biden and his administration that we are not stupid. We are not at all. Because we know that there is no insecurity that America is facing or any nation is facing than the insecurity created by the Biden and his administration, the state of Maryland, for the nation America, which is the shredding, the ditching of the US dollar by the nations of the world. Did you hear that? I'm saying that there is no insecurity which America is facing now than the insecurity created by the Biden administration and the state of Maryland due to their years of cowardly secret terrorism against the Ghanaian people, the hate crime that they are pursuing, and its consequence being the total destruction of the US dollar, the ditching of the US dollar. No insecurity is worse than that America is facing. So, Israel, Palestine, Ukraine, Russia, America, Africa, Ghana, and all the nations of the world will tell Joe Biden and his administration that if he has any Israeli-style security guarantee to provide for Ukraine, he must use that security. He must provide such security for his own nation and his own national currency, which he has destroyed. That is what he ought to do for the sake of the American people and his own nation, which he is destroying before the eyes of the world due to shameless pursuit of hate crime, 21st century open hate crime against the African people and against humanity. America and the nations of the world. Akufo to the program, testimony, New World Disorder. Joe Biden is guilty of heinous crimes against Ghana and against humanity. Likewise, the state of Maryland is guilty of such crimes. Joe Biden and his administration, they are guilty of medical terrorism against the American people and against humanity. You didn't hear this. America, Ghana, and the nations of the world, Europe, Asia, Australia, Africa, Joe Biden is guilty of the shameless, cowardly secret killing of an innocent Jewish child before the innocent child was born into this world. That is what heinous crimes they have committed. You didn't hear this. I'm saying that Joe Biden is guilty of terrorism against the state of Ohio. That is the focus. Akufo to the program, testimony, New World Disorder. And Joe Biden and his administration, they are guilty of shameless, willful crime covering against their own nation and against humanity. And it is making the nation America and the world, the nations of it, so insecure to the destruction of its own national currency, to the ditching of its national currency by the nations of the world. Therefore, they should use their two hands and cover their own faces in shame and say to themselves, their acclaimed security guarantee that they want to provide for Ukraine, they shall provide for the US national currency, which the state of Maryland and the Biden administration, in cahoot with wicked political counterparts of the Nana Addo Akufo, and they have destroyed their own national currency of America. America and the nations of the world. Akufo to the program, testimony, New World Disorder. They can fool some people for some time, but they cannot fool all of the human race all the time, let alone ever being able to make a fool of the God of the Bible once. They can't. America, Ghana, and the nations of the world, I tell us what, Joe Biden should go ask Nana Addo Akufo and his administration. During my 2 years mission in Ghana, investigative mission in Ghana, 2017 November to September 2019, during that 2 years period, when the perpetrators of hate crime against humanity, the Barack Obamas, the Hillary Clintons, the Ban Ki-moons, the Akufo Addos, took over the state of Ghana for their willful covering up of the heinous crimes against Ghana and humanity in worship of this extremely dangerous US undercover agent. During that 2-year period, Akufo Addo can testify to Joe Biden that the just God, Onyankopon Twene Edu Ampon Kwame Yahweh, who watches over Ghana and over the human race. He decimated the Akufo Addo government. He troubled the Akufo Addo government so much that the real terrorists that trouble the nations of the world, they caused the life of Dr. Busumuru Kofi Annan. And they became so desperate, these global wicked forces and the government of Nana Beckham, they became so desperate in the covering up of the cutting short of the life of Kofi Annan, the total helplessness that they had brought upon Ghana, the doom saw, the cutting of water supply cut off, the total tribulation, suffering that the Ghanaian people were going through. They became so desperate to divert the attention of the Ghanaian people from their willful crime covering to the point that Ghana, Obama Obi, Obama Obi, shall see say, on she madros, on she madros, to divert the attention of the Ghanaian people from what is happening in Ghana. So Joe asked Akufo Addo and his government the kind of desperation that God made them to suffer at his hands. They went to the extent of making Obi somebody to start burning the panties of women in the house of God in the nation Ghana, to create news of nonsense in the media to shift attention from what was happening to Ghana. Therefore, Joe, we know of your desperation with the state of Maryland because of the 17 years of terrorism, hate crimes against the African people in worship of this extremely dangerous USA. We know of your desperation ever since God made me to withdraw from the White House. You are finding reason around the clock, working desperately to find a reason to blame it, to blame what you have done to America and our own national currency on. But we do know one thing, that in your desperation, Joe, the state of Maryland, you are guilty of oil burning. Ghana, Akufo Addo chose that Omishe Madros. Joe Biden is so desperate that he's burning oil, or she oil. Akwaba to the program, testimony, new or disorder. That is what those that have no iota of fear for God and regards for life and the human race can go, the extent to which they can go in the pursuit of their evil against their own nation. against the human race. Because they have no regard for the women of Ghana. They chose to polish the dross. My precious friend, I have not mentioned your name, I just said Obi. I have not mentioned your name. Friends keep friends ahead, understand? But we know that that is what the desperation, the kind of desperation that was set upon the government of. It got to a point, they have to topple a whole bus behind the church of a preacher who's congregational member. Bought the mind of this undercover agent, Kenneth, to pursue this evil, which humanity, to initiate the pursuit of this evil in the house of God. They had to topple a whole bus behind a church because they were thinking that after God had gone to the Winneba District Court to shame them, I have gotten off the bus at the Accra Mall. So they were anticipating that I was trying to go to the church. Into Omoko mini bus on the motorway. Bang! State-sponsored terrorism they committed, seeking to intimidate me that I go not to that church, because when I was in Ghana during that 2-year period, for several times, God would purposely send me to that church on the motorway, Accra Tema motorway, to go sit in the congregation with the people of God, to let the overseer of the church understand that we can't sell the precious people of Ghana in the worship of Babylon the Great, and get our people killed and heinous crimes being covered up, while the politician walks as a god in the house of God and is being worshipped. Baumia, God was watching you closely. So America and the nations of the world, in the desperation of Joe Biden and his administration, they have become guilty of the burning of oil. It has added to their heinous crimes of cowardly secret terrorism against Ghana. 17 years. The Biden Barack Obama administration. They are guilty of medical terrorism against humanity under the guise of COVID-19. They are guilty of chemical spillage terrorism against Ohio. They are guilty of the killing of an innocent Jew. And God has made them guilty of the burning of oil. In addition to the wrecking of their own national currency. What is insecurity is beyond that. Israel, Ukraine, Russia, Palestine, Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia, and the nations of the world. We tell Joe, provide the Israeli style security guarantee for your own dollar, for your own national currency. Because Yahweh, the all-loving God, cannot be fooled and is watching over the deeds of wicked men who perpetrate heinous crimes against their own nation and against humanity. Blessed ones of the nations of the world. Akwaba to the program, testimony, the world disorder. Today we have had breaking news. The desperation of Joe Biden and his administration. They wanted the African out, away from the White House. God says, African, exit from the White House. Give them every opportunity to use Avenue Exxon, the state of Maryland, Gettysburg, to perpetrate all kinds of terrorism, hate crimes, and the willful covering up of crimes against their own nation. Let them do as they please. America, we told you at the White House that God wants them to do as they please. Now is Joe Biden taking hold of, by desperation, and the state of Maryland. What is your oil? They are burning oil in addition to they burning the US currency, the dollar, before the eyes of the world. What a desperation. The price of hatred and hate crime being pursued shamelessly by the state of Maryland. It's clear in the nation America and before the eyes of humanity. But the wicked say there is no God, and therefore everything that their God-fearing fathers and mothers labored for, they will tear them down and destroy everything. Medo-Persian Empire, the Grecian Empire, the Babylonian Empire, the ancient Roman Empire, wars and quest for conquering nations. They ended up destroying themselves. Though you pulled out of Afghanistan, what is happening between Russia and Ukraine? It's a proxy war you are fighting. You are not there fighting it. We know. So no physical war is destroying your nation. Your own hands, your own wickedness. You are destroying your nation without an iota of shame. Some build, some destroy. So your fathers and mothers built your nation, and for 17 years you have turned your back on God, the creator of the universe, the God which your fathers and mothers feared and walked with him to build your nation, and you have totally torn down everything that they labored for. It is God who has made desperation set on you, not me. God bless humanity and the nations of the world. And God bless my home in Ghana. It is finished. God bless you. Bye-bye.